Sometimes you stumble over a book that feels just exactly right for the moment you are in, and that book was The Four Profound Weaves for me. And fun fact, I bought it recently and read it within a week. Hello everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads, today with a book review of The Four Profound Weaves by R.B. Lemberg, which is a more literary fantasy novella. We are at just under 200 pages with this one. The Four Profound Weaves is a Middle Eastern inspired, more folklore type of fantasy, and it's about Uizia and the Nameless One who cross paths in the village of the Surin tribe. Uizia is finally sick of waiting for her aunt Benesrid, and the Nameless One just transformed from being a woman to being a man and wants Benesrid to actually name him because she played a big part in his transformation. Let's talk a little bit about Uizia because she is actually a really fascinating character. She's been learning the weaves from her aunt when she was very young, but only the first ones. The final fourth one, her aunt promised her that she will learn that in time, and she has been waiting now 40 years. It has been 84 years. Well, it has been only 40. So she has been waiting 40 years for her aunt to return. And essentially in that time, she was just sitting in her tent, staring at the weaves that she mastered back then when she was younger, and kind of getting lost in the success that she had back then, but since could never replicate since then. The weaves are part of the magic system of this world, so there are four, and they are increasing in difficulty as you progress in your journey of learning them, with, well, the fourth one being the most difficult one. I don't want to tell you too much about what exactly the weaves are about or what they entail, because that's, I find, is part of the journey of the book and figuring this out as you read the story. They're really important for the 4 chapters that book is separated in, and the author did a really great job in making each weave like its own chapter, and not just as the weave itself, but as part of the journey the Nameless One and Uizia go through. There's another aspect to the magic system, which is called deep names, and similar to the weaves here, you have different, not difficulty levels, but different skill levels from, you kind of can do magic to you're really, really good at that. And also exploring this is part of the whole story. The Nameless One, on the other hand, is from a city called Kana. That city is rather traditional when it comes to gender roles. You're either a woman or you're a man, and then you follow a very traditional path in life. So as an example, men tend to be scholars and they move into the inner circle, where they then spend the rest of their lives separated from the women who are in the outer circle, kind of protecting the city, being the traders, etc. Transforming, switching genders, or even being gender neutral while you're figuring out are you a man, are you a woman, is really not a thing in the city of Kana, but the Surin tribe is very familiar with that and doesn't have any issues with that, which is why the Nameless One kind of journeyed to that village of the Surin tribe to transform there. Ben Nesrit played a very important role in his transformation, and since then lives there. And he is challenged with growing up as a woman and now trying to adjust in a men's world and figuring out what their place is really in that world, and even should they even fit into this world or not. Difficulty increases because they brought their grandchildren, and the grandchildren struggle a little bit with that concept as well, that, hey, that was my grandmother, now it's my grandfather. So it's really interesting to observe that aspect of the Nameless One's journey. I said, all my life I was a man, and yet I kept that a secret. Not because I wanted to keep such a secret, but because other people told me that I must, that it was shameful and wrong to reveal it, that it was selfish to be who I was. I had to remain a lover, a traitor, a grandmother. I was a reluctant grandmother, but now that I'm free, now that I'm a grandfather, I'm supposed to just not to care for them anymore. This is more on the literary side, I would say, even though I wouldn't call it purple prose. It's not straightforward, if that makes any sense. And in addition to that, you're kind of thrown into everything. Not a whole lot of stuff is explained on a really deep level. As an example, the magic system. It's not a hard magic system, so you will not learn exactly what the deep names are or where they're coming from or how exactly it works. Same with the weaves. You will not go into detail of any kind, but you learn kind of how they're set up, how they build on another, how different people are using them. One aspect that I really enjoyed about this book, that it is, because of its more literary vibe, I think it's meant to be read a little bit slower, to be enjoyed at a slower pace and not just read in a day, even though you could, because it's short enough for that. And it reads straightforward enough for that, even though it is a little bit interpretational at times. What I enjoyed about the book is how it covers the different topics, not just the LGBTQ topics of switching genders or transforming genders. I actually really love that it is always about transforming yourself in this book, but also about growing up, becoming an adult, taking responsibility, death. And I think the author did a really good job in talking about those themes and incorporating that into aspects of the story, into aspects of the journey. Even, as I said earlier, right, how the chapters are set up and how the chapters are structured around the journey. And to be fair, this is not the typical book I read, right? I am someone who reads more straightforward, easygoing books, stuff that I can read after a long day at work, right? I don't want to think much usually, but every now and then I crave a book like this, and I just want to, snack it up and enjoy it. But it works a really great balance of giving you a little bit more, being a bit more ambiguous, being a bit more profound, while not leaving you alone and while making it accessible. Definitely a 4.5 star for me. I really appreciated the magic system. That was my favorite part of the entire book, quickly followed by Oizia, who's an amazing character. I loved her growth journey and seeing how she, ended up where she ended up, and how they both together, the Nameless One and Oizia, went through their journeys on the search for Benesrid, and then on the trials that they had to go through to accomplish what it is that they wanted to accomplish, without being spoilery here. That was my quick review of The Four Profound Weaves by R.B. Lemberg. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I got you interested in this Middle Eastern-inspired desert setting, fantasy, little bit literary novella. And definitely let me know if you've read it already, or if at a later point you decide to read it and what your thoughts are on it. I would love to talk with you a little bit about it. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. That really helps out the channel. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and that I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!